now is why everything happens and why it's so important to watch your thoughts and watch everything, every emotion you have. As I would breathe out with intent, it would change the energy. Okay? Now, they have actually shown, we've got devices now in science that have actually been able to measure when you have a thought, you create mass. Isn't that interesting? They can measure it now. You can actually have a thought to make something, like what the experiment they did was they had somebody focus on some metal. And his thought was, I'm going to make more metal. Now, it was minuscule. It wasn't very much. But when he focused his thought on that, it actually started weighing a little bit more. And with each thought, it weighed a little bit more. Very small amounts, but it weighed. And they could consistently prove it time and time again. So our minds create matter and reality around us. Now, when they call it the illusion, why do they call it the illusion? They have actually created thought forms. Do everybody know what a thought form is? A thought form is something that has been put out there that makes you think of something, such as watching the news. You're watching the news and somebody has had an accident. So what's the first thing that happens when you think about an accident? Oh, those poor people that got in that accident. Okay? It creates a thought. And that energy, that emotion of empathy or feeling sorry for them, or some people go, oh, that dumbass ran into somebody, you know. I mean, you know, people have those different thoughts. Well, what happens to their matrix? Those thoughts go out into the matrix, and they create this illusion of everybody focusing on something, and it brings it energy. And sometimes if they're bad emotions, bad thoughts, they produce energy that is what? Heavy and bad and actually causes more problems. Okay? It's the opposite of people sitting there and going, we pray that they'll be healed, that they'll, you know, if you get a group of people with those kind of thoughts, it creates opposite energy in that matrix. It sends thought forms of healing, thought forms of them being happy and taken care of and different things. That's why our thoughts, when you get a group of people together thinking the same thing and praying for somebody, it's very, very powerful. I've seen people be healed through prayer. Just by a group of people getting together and praying, putting their thoughts out there to do that. Now, thought forms are out in the matrix all over the place. You know, what is there, 6.5 billion people now? So there's 6.5 billion thoughts being put into the matrix. And if you can control those thoughts, you can control the matrix. How many people have seen the show Inception? What does it teach you?
About your dreams? Is it
dreams or thoughts that were put into you that create dreams, create your reality, right? So breathing is the infusing of the energy. When you put words to the breathing, when you're breathing out, see, a lot of people don't talk breathing in, do they? You talk and your breath comes out, and it carries words, and those words carry energy, and they create thought forms. Okay, and so we have all these thought forms floating around. And are we creating good thought forms or bad thought forms? You know? So we have to be very careful the energy we put out with our breath, the words we put out with our breath, the thoughts we put out with our breath. Breathing can change your life if you learn how to control it. Does that make sense? It can control everything. It can help you control what's going on with your children. It can help you control what's going on with your work, with your school, with whatever you're doing. So if you take a big deep breath and you put the intent in there to change what's going on in your life to good, it will make changes to good. So I really found when I was in Peru and putting that energy out and actually seeing that energy and having my mind move me wherever my thought took me. Like I asked, okay, where's this matrix coming from? Where's the energy coming from? And it took me over to this little bulbous thing that was putting out light and sound and energy. And I asked, well, what is that? It says it's the conduit of energy creating the matrix. And I'm like, have you guys seen this show, the movie The Matrix? It's very fascinating. You know, they've got it right in certain ways because we are the batteries, because we are the God energy, and we take and we move that energy through our thoughts and our breathing. It's very fascinating. It's a little different than, you know, sitting there in a tube and just feeding the computer the energy and then having your thoughts go out and they just play with your mind. And, you know, it's a little different than that. But we do have people out there creating thought forms and controlling the media, controlling the governments, putting out thought forms that are controlling our thoughts through all those thought forms that come at us every day. So the main thing I want you to take from this little portion of this is we need to control our emotions and our thoughts with our breathing. Very important, okay? You have a question? No? Okay. So anyway,